How do you facilitate learning in the classroom? It is part of my mission on the planet to create moments worth remembering. And in this video, I'm gonna show you 4 really powerful exercises for you to facilitate amazing learning that sticks in your classroom or group. I'm Chad Littlefield, let's get into it. A big thank you to Jen Kassir from North Dakota State University, a client of mine, somebody who I love working with, wonderful world changer on the planet. We were in a conversation and her intention right now with her students is to capture the moment. I love that framing, and so this video is inspired by that. I was thinking about how can I help Jen accomplish that intention best? And my best answer that I could come up with was get really, really good at the way that you end a class. And so the 4 exercises or activities that I'm gonna walk you through are really powerful closing exercises. And the reason I'm honing in on this part of the learning cycle or learning timeline, if you wanna facilitate learning in the classroom, paying attention to how you start a class and how you end a class is psychologically perhaps the most important time points. Because the way you start shapes the way that people engage, and the way you close shapes what people remember. The primacy-recency effect. We tend to remember what happens first and last. And so Jen, thank you. I hope this helps you and your students capture the moment. And I trust this video will help you capture the moment in your own context. As I share these, I would love to know which of the 4 activities you want to pick up and try out in your own context. And so drop a comment. I'd love to hear and be able to imagine how this video is going to be applied out in the real world. The only reason I actually record any of these videos to help leaders and educators make connection engagement easy is because I want to make a difference in actual life, not just in you and me watching a video, being on a video together. Exercise number 1, really, really simple, hugely powerful. I call it tiny teach. You can frame it as takeaway, toss up as well. But essentially, we learn more when we teach something than when we're actually learning it. And so a really great closing exercise is to pair people up, and this could be no matter how you're meeting. It doesn't have to be actually like a lesson in the class. This could be a general work meeting. Invite people to pair up and reflect for 30 seconds individually, and then invite them to take on the role of teacher and to teach one other person their top takeaway or idea that they're walking away with. And when you invite people to switch roles, so you actually become facilitator rather than teacher, and you invite them to become the teacher, all this lovely collective wisdom starts to fly around. Now, selfishly for them, they will actually remember that most because they've taught it to somebody else. And bonus points, the person who they taught it to will hear your teaching, your lesson, your idea in a different way from a different point of view. It'll also help your content be more memorable. Number 2, this is perhaps the most impactful way to close. There are a few variations on it. I'm gonna explain my one favorite method to do this exercise. So you might have heard in some of my other videos me distinguish between the words appreciation and affirmation. So really quick, for me, appreciation is appreciating someone for what they do. It's nice, it's good, right? Thank you, Stephen, for helping me film these videos. Versus affirmation is affirming someone for who they are. Thank you, Stephen, for helping me be creative and think about ways to frame videos better. I appreciate your creativity and it makes a difference. I kind of confuzzled that by using the word appreciate. You get the idea. Appreciate what they do, affirm who they are. So you distinguish those for a group. And then I love saying this phrase. Hey y'all, thanks for being here. I wanna end and wrap up our time together with your words, not mine. And so we're gonna actually, as our official end, we're gonna split out into breakouts. And I'm gonna invite you, whoever you land into breakouts with, and this really only works if the group has spent some time together. So this is not like a first class kind of activity. This is not a first gathering kind of activity. This is like a 9th class or end of the semester, really powerful way to wrap up. And split off and invite people to affirm the people that are in their breakout rooms for who they are. Just toss around a couple affirmations, invite people to just receive them by saying thank you or thank you, I liked hearing that. And that's it. You could literally close it and end with that small group energy. And there's something really powerful about ending in those small groups as opposed to ending with you like talking about logistics. For me, logistics, any sort of like housekeeping stuff, that is never the last thing you do. That's always the second to last thing that you do because our brains are wired to remember what happens last most, and I don't want them to remember like where the bathroom is most. I want them to remember somebody in the group really seeing them and caring about them. That is a takeaway I want people to leave my class with. That also helps helps facilitate learning because it creates a phenomenal learning culture. So if you were to do that maybe in the middle of a series of gatherings with a group, the way they'll show up next week will be so different. The group will be more connected. They'll be a little bit more in love with each other in some way. If that word love scares you, you can just erase it, or I don't know, pretend you didn't hear that part of the video. If like is better, then you can hit the like button. Third exercise, absolutely one of my favorites. Huge thank you to Nate Folan for introducing this to me. I don't know where the absolute source of it is. He's called it Group Anthem, and the basic framing is you invite your group to make closing statements at the end about anything they would like to related to your time with them. So any takeaway, anything they're still skeptical about, they're still wrestling with, a big aha, a breakthrough they had, something they're excited to try out. The only catch is their takeaway statements have to begin with one of three phrases. And those three phrases are, I am, I believe, or I will. So you invite your group to come off mute or toss their hand up, or my favorite, just kind of popcorn out. It's okay if people speak over each other once or twice. It'll sort itself out quickly enough. And they're all making closing statements in the format of, I am blank, I will blank, or I believe blank. And the reason it's called Group Anthem is when you have a group do this, it actually turns it's almost like a content review, the whole experiential learning cycle. So what people learned, what they made it mean, and what they're gonna do with it. And it takes all of that and puts it into one really lovely, beautiful, musical sounding ending to your group. You can do the same thing in the chat too. It's just not nearly as cool as hearing somebody's voices. If you're doing this virtually, invite people to be in speaker view so they see who is sharing big on their screen. And there's something that makes it a little bit more intimate, a little bit more personal, a little less distant feeling, even if you're doing distant learning. Fourth exercise, word waterfall. There's something, this works especially in groups of 20 plus. There's something about having people turn on caps locks in a virtual environment and typing words or shouting them out with some conviction. And so I would literally invite people at the end of a session to say, okay, think about how you feel after all of our time that we spent together and sort out, we're probably feeling multiple things, but sort out how you want to feel leaving this session. Condense that down into one word or quick phrase, and in all caps or loud with conviction, unmute or call out and share that word. And you just create this word waterfall that's almost like this live, either audible or visual word cloud of what people are taking away. And if you want to facilitate learning in your group, creates a really high energy, it's super quick. This is something that I would do if I had like 60 seconds to wrap up and I was like, ooh, I gotta close this up really quickly. This is a perfect, really quick way to end on a high note rather than, especially virtually, how we end and we click the leave meeting button. It's just this like silent vacuum of nothingness. If you liked all of this, I love you, and you'll love this video on how to encourage active participation in your groups, where I map out 5 ingredients for virtual and in-person engagement. I'm Chad Littlefield. Consider subscribing to the channel if you like stuff like this. Have an awesome day.